Good day, family. It's Shay Seeking again. This is going to be part 2 of the Deuteronomy 28. And hopefully I still have everything in order. Um, so we're talking about cursed shall you be in the city and cursed shall you be in the field. Okay, so then I'm thinking, okay, I know that the field, um, okay, may not necessarily be saying what we think, like a cotton field. That's the only thing we think when we think someone say field, and it's supposed to have something to do with so-called slaves or black so-called slaves. And then it says something about going above the earth in the seven divisions or sections or whatnot. So let's see. Okay. So, okay, we're going to look at this here, because this construct or this is a symbolic or whatever for the construct that we live under in this world that has been brought to us by governments all across the plane or so-called planet. Okay, so when we're talking about the enmity between the seed, we're talking about the untouchables, which are usually Aboriginal people or people that have lost their standing or their lands or have been colonized or prisoners of war. Um, okay. And then the commoners, okay, and this is the lowest class. Actually, you're not even attached to the system. You're at the bottom in the Sheol, in the Hebrew uh, I guess, image of the earth or the or this so-called realm or firmament that we're in. Okay, so if you look up the dome earth and you look up that, it's the same thing. I've showed it several times, so I don't think I need to today. Of where the Sheol would be there. Okay, so in the bottomless pit or the pit. And so when we're talking about the keys to this pit that's going to be opening up something, we're thinking that it's going to be opening up something that has to do with this devil or whatnot. But I'm just wondering who is the serpent seed, right? So I'm just wondering. We won't go all the way there today, okay? But and then above those people, okay, these commoners, peasants, and servants, or Slavic people, would have been various different hues or pigments of skin tones, right? Some of them might originate from the outcast. They may be the offspring or indigenous peoples that would be amalgamated version of the Indian and or indigenous person or native person and a foreigner. Okay, so just think the American Aborigine or so-called black person would be the untouchables, undesirable, or Dalit people that would be in this pink section down here at the bottom that do not, they're given the perception that they are included or the illusion of inclusion, and they are not. And this is why you can be murdered on national TV, and the videos will go viral. The news will talk about it. We are the only people that you can see die in that manner today. Again, on a national or worldwide viral scale. Okay? You hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying it didn't happen to anybody else. I'm just saying the way that they're depicting it and broadcasting it is dehumanizing you over and over again. It also has trauma and other fear mongering, propaganda filled notions that we take in, and our children do as well. Okay, so the way we're seeing it is going to be different than the way our children are seeing it, and they will be the ones to go on in this so-called world after you're not here anymore, and we haven't set the record straight. See, so at one point in time, the commoners and peasants and servants some of them were mingling with these particular Aborigine people, but at some time, maybe even around the time or when Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves or Slavs, when they rose above you. This is when you hear people saying down in the South, so-called white and blacks lived together. They both were poor, dirt poor, had a lot of children, and they were commingling together. They were neighbors with each other. They didn't have the strife that they give us the perception that was there in all of these communities. Sometimes they were kind of like family or depended on each other. Okay? So again, those people rising up, that's that division right there, or the enmity, between the two seeds, the original people of the land and the people that came in with for reign, because God sent them here to reign, right? Okay, so the children or the sons and daughters of the foreigners, okay, that are here to reap benefits, okay, and later on used in military to go against people on this land and supposedly other places. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out when we're talking about this whole construct, because again, I know it looks a little bit slightly different here, but if you go back and do the research on the caste system, they say that there's 7 fractions or divisions or classes there. Okay. So again, these people, the Sudra, could be different hues and skin tones, and they can be using these people like a Jesse Jackson or all these people to give you the illusion that they're doing something for you, but all in all, they've taken an oath, and for them to give you all the goods. See, they may get upset sometimes and speak some things that you have to decode, right? Because they can't give it to you freely, or they'll lose their standing and they'll be shot down to where you are. So at the end of the day, this construct that this system falls, they fall right along with it. Even though the puppet masters at the top, who knows? The deep state, whatever people call it, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let us know that, because again, they have used our people to deceive our people in the past, to give us the perception that someone's going to help get us out of something, when it's going to take us taking a stand and removing ourselves from the system entirely and creating our own, in a sense, to get out of this. So, okay, I don't want to spend too much time on that. So let's go back to this part here. Okay, so I want to talk about what the field is. Okay. Okay, so right here we're looking at the etymology for field, and it says Old English, which the Bible was written in mysteriously at some point in time. Okay, so the plain, the pastures, open land, cultivated land. Okay, as opposed to the woodland. Okay. So again, the woodland, and when we're talking about wood and trees and stuff like that, it also has to do with the indigenous or aboriginal people. The fruit is the amalgamated or sometimes, organic fruit that falls from these family trees. Same reason why, again, like that lady that I was telling you about, she said that they didn't even have a social security number. They didn't even have a birth certificate. They had to get it later on, like in their 60s and all these other things. So what was going on? Why these people didn't have these documents? Whose documents did they take after a certain amount of time? Just we're looking at a lot of things in genealogy when they have changed your ancestors' names or added something to the end of, or changed the way that it's written. Things like this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, what was going on? It must have been something in the early 1900s that was going on. Okay. So anyhow, it's saying the cultivated land. So the cultivated, again, when we're talking about irrigated, cultivated, all these things has to do with fruits and vegetables and harvest and all this other stuff, but it also has to do with breeding, mixing in the ways that they were operating when it was coming to tilling the earth. And that's tearing it down and subduing it and bringing it to a standstill and putting it under, as the footstool. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay. And then cultivated also, it makes me think of we're moving west, southwest even. We're moving to places that were first contacted with some of these foreigners in that way, where they were establishing different, governing forces, whatever they would have been, ministers or whatever they were, Jesuits and stuff like that were coming over. Okay, so and it's saying as opposed to the woodland. So again, I'm thinking woodland Indians, the woodland area, whatever. But again, this is just me reading through this to see what else piques my interest, or comes out. So also a partial of land marked off. See, and that's also reminding me of cast off, or something that has been separated, or something to that, nature. And used for pasture or tillage. So we're going to use the term till here because, again, to till the earth is you would have to look up till and subdue on your own. Okay. Probably related to Old English fold or earth or land. Again, this is talking about people, original people that will be descendants of or who have come from these original people. It may even have the spirit or the frequency or energy, or they may be guided in this sense in this day of this awakening, or open to something that has been closed off, since our pineal glands have been calcified along with everyone